Hey everyone! I did not film an intro, but here is the top that we're going to be making. The full written pattern is linked below on my blog, so head there for all of the sizes and full instructions and materials and everything. This is just a quick little video tutorial to go along with that pattern. This is a super simple make. The front and the back are identical panels, so you're just making two of the same thing and then sewing them together. We're really only using chains and double crochets, so if you can do that, this will be super easy for you once you can understand how to read the chart. But other than that, it's really quite simple and works up pretty quickly. Just keeping in mind that I'll be using American terms, and the chain 2 or chain 3 at the beginning of each row does count as a stitch. So first I just kind of want to explain how to read the chart. So even though there are numbers here, they're not all stitches, it's just kind of the squares. So the inside of the square is a stitch and either side of the square is a stitch. So this line here is a double crochet, and because this is empty, this line here is a chain 1 and skip a stitch and then double crochet into the next one. So the dot, when it's filled, means it's a double crochet. So you double crochet, this line is another double crochet, and this dot is another double crochet. Again, with this line here is a double crochet. This is empty, so we're going to chain 1 and skip a stitch, and then double crochet. Alright, so we're just going to start with a slip knot and insert your hook. I'm using a 3mm hook, as you can see, and then I'm using just this crochet thread. All the details and the link to it are in the written pattern on my blog. But we're just going to start with our chains. So again, just chain the right number of stitches for your size. I'm just going to do a just a small sample so it's easier to see and follow along with, but just start with chaining the right number for your size. So once you're done your chain, you can see it there, we're just going to go into the 5th chain from the hook. So counting 3, 4, 5. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going into the 5th chain. So just do a double crochet into there, yarn over and double crochet into the 5th chain from the hook. And there you have your first little kind of square thing. So you have your bottom stitch, which is one of the chains, and then 2 more chains, which is the first double crochet, and then the chain on top. So we're going to chain and skip a stitch and double crochet into the next one. And again, chain, and we're going to skip another one and double crochet into the one after that. And then just continue this for the rest of the row. So everybody's first row will be the exact same, which is the regular mesh stitch. So just double crochet, chain 1, and skip a stitch. And just do that until the very end. So once you've reached the end, just do your last double crochet into that last chain in the row. And there you have your first row. So again, everyone's will be the same. It'll just be fully just the regular mesh stitch. So once you're done, you're going to chain 3 and then turn. So for the sample here that I'm going to show you, I'm just going up to here on the chart, but make sure you're going up to where the line is for your size. So just scrolling over so you can see there's extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and so on. So just make sure you find the right kind of stopping point for your size. So after the chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet, and the first chain 1 skip a stitch, we're going to do a double crochet into that kind of second double crochet there from the previous row. So we have our first kind of square, and then our next square is filled, as you can see. So the first one is empty, and then the second one is filled. So we're going to do a double crochet into that space, and then another double crochet into the next stitch. And then the next square is also filled, as you can see. So we're going to do another double crochet into that space, and then another one into the next stitch. So there we have our first kind of 3 squares. So it's empty, filled, and filled. and then I'm going to continue following the chart. So there's 5 empty spaces. And remember, when there's the open spaces, you're just doing the regular mesh stitch. So it's the double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch for those spaces. So here we have our 5 empty squares, and then the next 2 are filled, and then the 2 after that are empty again. So when it's filled, you're double crocheting into that space instead of doing the chain 1, skip a stitch. So here we are on the last one, and then remember at the end of this row, you're going to go into the second chain from the chain 3 at the beginning of the first row. So now we're going to move on to the third row of the top, but our second row of the fillet pattern. So remember to check for your size if the first square of your next row is empty or it's filled. If it's empty, you'll chain 3. If it's filled, you'll chain 2. Because that third chain is the chain 1, skip a stitch. So for me, the first square in the next row is empty, so I chained 3, and then I'm just going to go ahead with a double crochet into that kind of first/second stitch there. And then I'm just going to continue following the chart across the row. Remember, we're going in the other direction now from the first row. So that space is empty above that previously filled space, so I'm just going to skip over that like we would any other time. But when there are 2 filled squares on top of each other, you're just going to do a double crochet into that double crochet from before. Just like that. And then just continue following the chart for the rest of your row. So here you can see it kind of taking shape, but I'm just going to show you what to do if your first square at the beginning of a row is filled. So you can see for row 4 here, the first square in that row is filled. So what you'll do at the end of your previous row is just chain 2 and turn, and then you'll double crochet right into that space or right on top of another double crochet, and then just continue following the chart as normal. Once you're done the fillet pattern and following the chart, you'll just continue in regular mesh stitch for the rest of your top. Just follow the number of rows indicated for your size, or you can just make it as long or as short as you'd like. And then you have the option to make shoulder rows if you want more neck shaping. Just remember that it'll be like a wide neck and it's quite heavy, so it'll weigh the top down, but feel free to add those shoulder rows if you'd like. Here's just a little visual if you did want to add the shoulder rows. I'd recommend it just being 1 row again, because if you're using cotton, it'll be quite heavy, but just do whatever will be best for you. So just do the 1 row, just continuing off of the end of your regular body rows, and then fasten off and reattach on to where the arrow is pointing right here. And do the same number of stitches and then repeat that on the back. So once you have both your panels done, you just lay them one on top of the other, and then you'll sew up at the shoulders. So just at the top, however wide you want your shoulder to be, just sew the 2 panels together, or if you chose to do the extra shoulder rows, sew your shoulder rows together, but that's just what I did because I wanted kind of like a high neck situation. And then again, just sew them at the sides. I recommend leaving a bigger armhole, but yeah, just sew them up like that. And again, do it on the other side as well. Super simple. And then you have your top. Super easy. Now we have sound. So take 2. You didn't see take 1. So here it is. Here's the completed top that you will have. Yeah, that's it. It's the same on the front and the back, unless you made any changes. But here it is. Thanks for watching. I hope you like the pattern. If you make this top and post it on social media, please tag me so I can see it. That was too close. Oh well, that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know.